welcome to the Church of Mabus radio show. It's Friday night, 7:08 p.m. Central. We got Chad Lutzke here with us tonight. How's it going, Chad? Great to have you here.
Yeah, I appreciate the invite.
And let me get some Dead Sky Publishing. Uh, that's Dead Sky Publishing, DEADSKY Publishing.com. And then Chad's website is Chad Lutzke, ChadLutzke.com. And Dead Sky Publishing is also on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. So basically, we had a Sarah Frazetta scheduled, but she had an event, and we're going to get her rescheduled. And we're lucky enough to get Chad to sit in with us for a very unique, great show as we get ready for our crazy Halloween lineup, which starts pretty much in September for me. So that's, but I've been scheduling, some really wild guests, and Chad definitely fits in with them. Next week's Mike Mekozowski. Man, that last name, my Georgia with that one. Yeah, I'll spell it. It's actually, his name's Mike, Mikekozlowski. But it's a ghost story for every state. I'll make sure he says his name on air. My Georgia, it will butcher you. My Georgia, there's Jay. And but anyway, October 6th, Fred Anderson from Sweden. Hopefully there's no technical difficulty. He wrote a book on UFOs called Northern Lights. And really looking forward to that. And he's going to be a good guest when you write him and he says, let me get back to you in a few days. I'm recovering from partying. And he did, and here we go. But what's interesting about Fred is I've had some strange encounters in my early 20s where I saw some hooded beings with a black box. And there was a witness, my friend Brian. Well, Fred has a bunch of encounter stories from people from Sweden, and apparently there's some weird black box stuff. So I'm looking forward to hearing those. Really creepy. The black box thing creeps me out. I saw some weird right-wing smut thing that said something about the secret of the black cube, like some video today. I didn't watch it because there's like all kinds of political crap, but something about the secret of the black cube, like ties it into Saturn. I didn't watch it. I was like, do I need to watch this? Probably not. But there's something about the black box, the black cube. But Jay's here with us. How's it going, Jay?
Hey, Jay.
It's going pretty good. My computer's acting funny, so if I get bumped out, you know why.
And then October 13th, Mark Dizziak. I'm having trouble with names tonight. Bad. October 13th, our Friday the 13th show. Edgar Allan Poe, the death of Edgar Allan Poe, the mysteries of his death. And then October 20th, Stephen Flowers has a great book, Gothic Meditations at Midnight, where he deciphers the occult works in Nosferatu and Phantom of the Opera and a lot of old movies. And, I had talked to him recently on the phone, and he actually was friends with that Michael Aquino guy in that Temple of Set. So he was telling some stories about that. I was like, that's cool, a little creepy, but I love Stephen Flowers. It's going to be a good show, but that book looks pretty interesting. Gothic Meditations at Midnight. And then our October 27th show, Michael Aliosa, Dark Ink Books. He's put out a lot of biographies, Kane Hodder, Gunnar Hansen from Texas Chainsaw Massacre and stuff like that. So we're looking forward to that. And so, Jay, is your computer seem to be doing okay right now?
Seems to be doing okay, but for whatever reason, it's been on all day. And I clicked on the wrong link. I clicked on an old StreamYard link, and it opened up immediately. I'm like, oh, wrong one. And then I clicked on this one, and it just sat there and spun. So It's got its moments. I need a new one.
Mercury retrograde isn't over till October 2nd, so you can blame that.
Yeah, so I'm not in the clear yet.
So great to have you here, Chad. I appreciate you sitting in on such short notice.
Yeah.
And so what got you started with writing? I mean, was horror the first genre that what was the catalyst for all that? If you give us a little background about yourself.
Um, well, it's funny. It's funny that I'm even a writer in the first place because I hated growing up. I hated reading. Didn't really have the attention span. And then later in my teens, I was too busy like skateboarding and playing in bands and stuff like that. I just couldn't sit down to read a book, and I never actually read a novel until I was like 23 or 24. A lot of my peers, they're like, I grew up on Stephen King. I read Salem's Lot when I was 8 and all this, and I don't have those. I don't have that experience. Movies was another thing, so I drew a lot of influence from that. But in my 20s, I had written 4 short stories, and then I got married, had kids, got busy with work, and I didn't write again for maybe 20 years. And then, like 9 years ago, I decided to write a short story, and I got it published right away. So I decided to continue, and horror, I guess, was kind of a given. It's not necessarily something I wanted to, for sure, do. That's why a lot of my stuff is just a lot of it's arguably not horror at all, but maybe adjacent, or crime, or just gritty in general, kind of dark. But yeah, very few of my books are actual, to me anyway, are actually horror. But yeah, I mean, that's how I got started. I finally found a love for reading when I was 23, 24, and then I read a ton for the next 2, 3, 4 years, trying to catch up for all of the beautiful stories that I had missed out on. And I wish I would have kept with the writing back then. Maybe it'd be even further than how I am. But I'm happy with a lot has happened in the last 9 years, and a lot more than I ever thought would happen. I kind of just was happy with having one short story in a magazine to put on the shelf that the kids could read one day. But gosh, maybe 4 or 5 dozen anthologies later and like 20 books, I'm still doing it.
And the splatter western, to you, your book How the Skin Sheds, what would you call splatter western? I mean, how is that? Is it Weird West, or it's just more violent? What splatter western?
To me, it's kind of like a spaghetti western, like or like a what's his name, Peckinpah or something, but gorier, if Tarantino-ish, I guess.
Yeah.
And I ashamed to say I actually haven't read any of the splatter westerns that Dead Sky has put out. Not a single one. So I can't really compare the two. But from what I understand, they are gory. A lot of them have supernatural elements. Mine has probably more ambiguous supernatural stuff in it, but it is very violent, and yeah, it's mainly, I guess, just the violence is, it's, I wouldn't call it gratuitous. It's just not off camera. It's on the page.
Yeah.
And there's definitely weird elements in there too, for sure. In mine.
It's definitely Weird West. It's just spider western. I've heard of spider punk, but spider western, it's like grindhouse kind of, sort of. Maybe.
Yeah, it's just like gritty western.
Yeah.
Usually with weird elements, horror elements.
And
like maybe Bone Tomahawk, the movie, would maybe be considered a splatter western, for sure.
That was a good one. I enjoyed that one. I grew up with a lot of Jonah Hex. I love that Joe R. Lansdale Jonah Hex, and I actually went back. That was the first time I came across Jonah Hex, was when Joe and Timothy Truman did it. But then I started getting some of the older Jonah Hex, and that was weird from the get-go. Definitely some Weird West. The movie was terrible, but had a resurgence lately for some reason on Amazon Prime. That Josh.
He also had a few cameos on that Guardian show on the CW.
Yeah. And I noticed. What was the name of your very first book?
Of Foster Homes and Flies.
Was it horror or just like fiction? Or
I mean, you could say yes, but then people who it's horror, like the horror lovers. It's actually in. I don't know if you guys know who Sadie Hartman is in Mother Horror, but it's in the book that she just uh, had come out called 101 horror books to read before you're murdered, and it's listed in there. So I mean, uh, it's horror, but then if someone doesn't want to call it a horror, it's not horror either. It's got horrific elements to it. It's coming of age. It's fairly dark, um, but hopeful at the same time.
is that your first book through Dead Sky Publishing, or have there been other?
No, no, no. I actually independently published that, and it's. I'm pretty proud of it. It was my first book. It's been I've it's been translated into Russian, um, Arabic, Spanish, uh, and it's gotten some attention from Richard Chismar said nice things about it. Jack Ketchum before he passed said nice things about it. So it's for being I'm pretty proud of for being independently published. But no,
Looking
the
on
only
your
thing I
site.
have, what's that?
Oh, I was just looking at where in your about section it says you've been praised by Jack Ketchum, Richard Chismore, Joe R. Lansdale, Stephen Graham Jones, Elizabeth Massey, Tim Wagoner, and your own mother. So that's
Yes.
good.
God bless her.
Yes, that's some pretty good. That's some good blurbage for sure. For sure. You've written for Famous Monsters of Filmland. Is that even still putting out? That was I always I've done Forrest Ackerman, right?
Yeah,
Famous.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I've done a show about him.
I wrote for them a few times, maybe 6 or 7 years ago, and then they changed editors, and they decided to do things differently and started doing instead of doing freelance, started doing like in-house stuff. So that sucked because I had just gotten my foot in there, and they paid decent too. So, and I grew up on Famous Monsters, as well as Fangoria. So that was um, that was a that was a highlight of my writing career, being able to have a few magazines with my articles in them.
There was some weird paranormal stuff with Forrest Ackerman that happened after he died, and there's a whole like documentary about it on the Sci-Fi Channel, and there's a whole book about it. Right now, the guy's name escapes me, but he also put out some weird book, Jesus in India. But it's like this big hardcover book about Forrest Ackerman and like weird, just paranormal stuff. I guess that happened where he lived after and stuff. We did a
Oh
show
yeah.
about that a million years ago. But Don Webb told a story that I'm remembering. Uh, Don Webb, when he was on last, was at Forrest Ackerman's house, and Forrest showed him a Dracula book that had been signed by like almost every Dracula actor ever.
Wow.
And I don't even know. I might have went back to Bela Lugosi. I think I don't know. I'd have to re-ask Don, but there was a lot of actors that had signed it. I
Wow.
doubt Max Schreck was in there. I'd be
Yeah,
really
that's what I was just
shocked.
thinking of. That'd
Yeah.
be cool.
It's
Going
like
all the way
Forrest
back to
Ackerman's a
Nosferatu.
vampire. But no, there's some weird paranormal story where like an ink thing happened weird. I don't know if it's real or not, but there was a whole to do about it at Forrest Ackerman's house and all that kind of stuff. So growing up, what kind of movies do you remember? Like I don't like. I'm so jaded now from seeing so much horror. I don't really think I get scared when I watch horror anymore. I think I love the Terrifier movies. Some of that's a lot for me. Some of the scenes are a bit much. David's the guy that plays the clown, hangs out on my Facebook and stops by a lot. But I love the movies. But I would say that some of that was a little hardcore for me. But I mean, I didn't like throw up or anything. But the movie I remember affecting me as a kid the most was Night of the Living Dead, the black and white. I checked under the bed for those. Like I was like making sure there was nothing around after that one. But growing up, did you have any movies like that or anything that influenced you or scared you?
Um, Scared, yeah. Probably in the '70s, I saw a few films that creeped me out. Like, I think one of the first films that I remember seeing Godzilla versus the Smog Monster. I think it was what it was called, and I remember thinking that was really gory, because at the end, Godzilla rips into the Smog Monster and like tears these eggs out of his body and throws them around. And then there's most people haven't seen this movie, which is a shame because it's highly underrated. But the Curse of the Fly, which is like the third Fly movie, is a
Okay.
fantastic body horror movie, and it has a lot of just disfigured people with melting flesh and their bodies all just. It's a great body horror movie. I don't know why people don't
Is
ever talk
Vincent
about it.
Price in that one or someone
No,
else?
I honestly don't know the names of the people who are in it, but I
I
saw
think I
that.
have it in a box set around here.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, I need to watch it.
I,
They should
I
hang
think
on to it. It's
it's
probably worth some money now.
it's my favorite Fly movie other than the Cronenberg
Yeah.
one. But yeah, it's a great movie. And then The Exorcist. I remember seeing like maybe the first I don't know 25 minutes or so of The Exorcist. As soon as Linda Blair started showing signs that something was wrong, I was out. I turned it off, and I think at that time I was maybe like 8, 9, 10, something like that. But I finally watched it all the way through after a couple of attempts. I think I watched it all the way through when I was like maybe 13 or 14. But I remember that one really getting to me and scaring me quite a bit. And I also probably the Amityville Horror, because I grew up in. I think I was 9 when all that was going on, and it was a huge phenomenon at the time. The Lutz, George and Kathy Lutz, were on talk shows, and they were on the cover of magazines, and just Jay Anson's book had just come out, and the movie had come out, and everybody was talking about this. There was no talk of like hoax or anything like that. So it was a very. The only thing I can really compare it to is like when the Blair Witch Project came out, and everyone was wondering, is this real? Because their marketing campaign was genius. They had that documentary and stuff, but that was yeah, the Amityville Horror thing kind of creeped me out, and I loved being scared, but I also hated it. So, but yeah, I had this like love hate relationship with being frightened, but I've loved horror and kind of been obsessed with it since even before I can remember really.
For some reason, that scene in Toxic Avenger where they run over that kid's head like
With the
traumatized
Camaro.
me. Yeah, for some reason that movie's those movies are kind of stupid. I mean,
Well, even
I
so,
probably appreciate it more now than back when I saw it because I'm more warped now. But and I really want to see the new one that they're doing, really, really bad.
Yeah.
But that scene, like I kept thinking about it during the whole thing and like traumatized me.
as far as as far as how
Traumatized
bad those
me.
movies go, but even though you might think those movies are bad, that one particular scene is pretty hard to come off to pull off on as a special effect. It's so realistic looking that it almost makes you have to watch it several times to go, oh no, wait, it's a melon that they just ran over. But the first time you see that, I was like, oh my god, who do they actually get to pay to run their head over with the Camaro? It looked that real, and I was able to duplicate a similar thing in video school and in college. Scared all the girls in class, but I'm glad you mentioned The Exorcist. I have a good story for you about The Exorcist. So I saw it also the same time I was 8 or 9 years old, and when it came on TV, and it scared the bejesus out of me, even on TV. And I can tell you that story later. But we were in school, and they took us to and I forget what we did. We went down to Washington D.C. for something, some kind of field trip, and I don't remember what we did. It was one of the museums, maybe one of the art museums. I don't recall. But on the way back, we're on the Whitehurst Freeway, facing this thing called the Car Barn. The Car Barn is it's a museum now in D.C., but that's where all the streetcars, the trolley cars, used to board up at the end of their shifts. They would stay in this trolley house. Next to that is the stairs at the end of the movie, and we see this guy, this real tall dude in a brown, like a detective jacket, kind of looking like Inspector Clouseau, or what's his name, the Gadget, Go Gadget Arms, and he just casually goes and flings himself down these 100 or so stairs. I mean, it's way high. I mean, it's probably, I'd say they probably span about 3 stories, these stairs, with one landing in the middle, and this guy just bounces all the way down these stairs to the bottom. And the whole time we're all like screaming our heads off, like, oh, this guy's gonna die. He stands up, takes the jacket off, pulls off shoulder pads and elbow pads and knee pads. He starts talking to 2 people who turns out is the director and the writer, William Peter Blatty. So he was the stuntman that did the stunt.
Oh man!
For the end of the movie, with the priest killing himself down the stairs, telling the director, "Yeah, I can do the stunt." And this whole time we're 8, 9-year-old kids going, "Oh my God!" screaming our heads off. This guy's gonna die. And yeah, that was cool to see. And then I actually saw the movie, and I was so scared at the end. I didn't even think to realize those are the same stairs that I saw the dude jump off of. So.
That's a crazy story, man. Wow.
Oh, it was amazing. And if you don't know the
area,
at?
Where was it at again? What state and everything?
Washington D.C. And the funny thing is, I also know that area because it's an area called Georgetown, where all the kids go when they're legal to drink. That's where we go drinking. And so the house is way over here, and the stairs are 4 blocks. So that priest, the movie, they try to make it look like the house is right next door to the stairs. It's not. It's 4 blocks away. So the priest jumps out of the house with the window facing away from the stairs and goes over the house 4 blocks. So it's a pretty good jump. So
it's crazy. That's a good story for sure. That's historical.
Yeah, I mean, so the movie was scaring me even before it was finished. I mean, this guy just launches himself down the stairs, and all the kids in the bus thought he was dying. I mean, 30, 40 kids in the bus screaming their heads off. He must have heard that.
Wow.
Those movies are amazing. I watched that Hope's Exorcist or whatever with Russell Crowe. I'm not someone that tries not to be overcritical, but that movie was horrible. I had to force myself to get through it.
I have no interest. I saw the trailer and nah.
What's sad is it's based on a true story of a dude that was really like an exorcist for the Pope or whatever. And it probably, if they would have did it like a Martin Scorsese movie or something, it would have been a lot better. But it was stupid. It was just ridiculous. I was like, God, it was sad.
There's some really poorly made movies out there in all genres. It doesn't matter what.
I saw El Conde. That's weird. It's worth a watch. El Conde, have you seen that one? Have you heard of it? El Conde, ELCONDE. It just released on Netflix. It's Chilean, and it's about a fascist Dracula dictator, and it's in black and white. And it's kind of like Nosferatu or something, but it's weird as hell. It's worth watching for sure. It's called El Conde. It's like this fascist dictator dressed up like a freaking, like a Cuban dictator, or Chilean, I guess, or whatever. Yeah, but he's like flying around. It's crazy.
Like a vampiric Che Guevara.
It's weird as hell. I don't know if I'd watch it again anytime soon, but I mean, it's good, but I just, one time's enough. but I tell you what, I just got through binging Justified. Man, I binged that like a granny with soaps. I'm finally through it. I can't be that committed to a show for that long. That was like 7 seasons. It was crazy, but it's a good show. It's worth watching. It's just too much. So now it's time for horror movies, so I can't be binging stuff like that for sure. So it's horror movie time. But so has any of your stuff ever came up for movies or anything like that, like your books or anything?
Well, I have I can talk about this publicly just because Josh Malerman has brought it up before, but I have a book that I wrote with author Tim Meyer called Wormwood, and we were approached by, you guys know who Josh Malerman is?
Yes.
Who wrote Bird Box?
Yes.
Okay, well, his production team called Spin a Black Yarn were interested in turning our book Wormwood into a movie. So Tim and I wrote the script, and worked closely with Josh and his manager and a director that signed on to do this.
Cool.
And then over the course of a few months, Tim and I wrote this script, and they okayed it, and
Nice.
package was put together, and they went to do some funding, a couple, look for funding, try to find some, studios that might be interested in it. I know it passed through Fangoria's hands, and which I didn't think would be a good fit anyway. It's not really a horror movie; it's like a thriller. It passed through Spectre Vision's hands, which is Elijah Wood's company, who did movies like The Boy, Greasy Strangler.
I've seen Greasy Strangler. That's something.
Yeah, you got to see Greasy Strangler, and I didn't think that was a good fit anyway, because the movies that they do are a little bit more non-traditional and kind of out there, and ours was a little bit more traditional. But anyway, long story short, nothing's happening with it. There have been no bites as far as funding goes. Not sure why. I don't know how this, they started looking for funding, I think like 2000, late 2020,
Yeah.
2021, something like that is when they started looking for funding. We haven't heard anything, so I don't know if it's just a project that's dead. And then other than that, I've been contacted by a couple TV and movie agents. The one that worked for ABC, I think it was, and they wanted to know if I own the rights to certain books and stuff. But so far nothing really has. And this kind of thing, from what I told, it just kind of happens. Even when we were writing that screenplay, none of us got real excited because just this kind of thing just happens and then never comes to fruition. Which is a shame. But hopefully one day.
And things are so weird from the writer strikes and all that stuff. Like, things are just on hold or stopped. And I saw that the Spawn script was almost done, but then the strikes happened, so that's like cursed to never be finished. It seems like so many weird things. And then the Doom Patrol situation with HBO? I really love that show. They're canceling it after the next 6 episodes. There's just so many weird things with all that gets killed or canceled or gets the life sucked out of it.
Yeah.
Al Going Back was going to be in I forget the name of it now, but there was a George Romero Bigfoot movie, and they released a clip of it at some university, and I was actually there watching it. I can't remember the name of it right now, but somehow Al was connected with George Romero to be in that, but something happened and they made Martin or something that didn't get done. They released clips of it at some college, and I forget the name of it. It was in Florida, but there was like Bigfoot hunters running around. There were some clips. It was like a college film, sort of, but about Bigfoot. It has a weird name. I just can't think of it right now. There's always those kind of stories with that kind of stuff. My saddest story with TV ever, and TV and being on the camera, like, I don't even like being on web, but here I am doing it because we have to. But I had a situation where I was going to be in a documentary, and Stacy Brown, who lives in this area, and he's also on that Finding Bigfoot show a lot, came to my house and with a camera on me as I held some kind of alien plastic thing. I had like some autopsy alien, and I was talking about aliens. But it was the first time I was ever going to be on anything like that, TV or anything. But I felt sick and nervous, like I was going to crawl out of my skin. But anyway, something happened to the audio, and they couldn't use it. So that was my only run-in with television ever. But I did smoke a doobie with Stacey Brown. So
I forgot. I was in a documentary. There's a documentary called All Hail the Popcorn King.
I'll look it up.
It's about Joe Lansdale, and it came out
okay.
Maybe a year or two ago, and I'm in that documentary. I'm on the DVD or the Blu-ray or whatever. I don't know if I'm in the documentary or in the special features for extra interviews, but I was interviewed for that, and I know that I'm on the DVD, and I'm credited on IMDb uh, next to Bruce Campbell and other
Awesome.
people for being in it.
Hells yeah. What did you have to talk about? Just like how he inspired you or something like that?
Yeah, yeah. Joe Lansdale's just a huge inspiration. How the Skin Sheds is dedicated to him.
Awesome. Yeah, I love his stuff. Anything I can get a hold of. I got some of the hardcovers of some of his West stuff. Was it Dead in the West, and then the Wagon book. I need to read those. It's been a long
Magic
time.
Wagon.
Yeah, Magic Wagon. And some old hardcovers. There was some book he did, or something with Batman. I don't know if he wrote an episode or a book.
Yeah,
or
he wrote
something.
some of the animated series.
Okay,
he
yeah,
wrote a
yeah,
bunch of the animated
yeah.
episodes.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Jonah Hex, those comics, I love them. Those are really good and weird. And with that Timothy Truman art, it's just crazy. There's like zombies in it and stuff. It looks really good. So what are you working on in the future, book wise, that you can talk about?
Oh man, I'm working on an absolute ton of stuff, but mainly most of my writing time has been with another collaboration that I'm doing with an author named Edward Lorne, and it's like a gritty crime thriller kind of uh, grit lit rural noir thing, um, and I've got nearly a dozen like other books that are in some form or another of some are half through, some are just a couple chapters in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get kind of like ADD with my with what book I want to give my attention to, and some of them it takes a long time to finish because I kind of pick away at them, and some I write in within a couple weeks. So it just depends on how where my interest lies at the time.
How are you with editing? I have some books, but it's mostly like interviews, like we're doing now, put in written form, and they're on Amazon and stuff. But the editing is my weak spot. Like I don't know what it is, but I missed the train somewhere in Oklahoma when it comes like simple stuff I got, but I just have trouble with it.
Yeah,
Like, you've always been good at that, or do you have to have an
no,
editor?
I'm pretty good. I mean, well, you should always get an editor, but I am. I'm pretty good at it. At least I've been told. I remember I sent a manuscript to a well-known small press, and they told me that it was the cleanest manuscript they've ever gotten, and asked if I had already paid for an editor, and I said no, I did not. So I try to, even if it's going to a publisher and I know it'll be edited, I try to pride myself on giving them the cleanest thing I possibly can.
And it's not as hard as it used to be. Most modern Word programs they give you certain cues, like for Microsoft Word, like two blue lines under improper grammar,
Yeah.
red wavy line if you spell something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes it'll put in punctuation marks for you. So it's time consuming, but it's a lot easier. I mean, I know what Jeffrey's talking about, and doing papers for college, 30, 40 years ago, they didn't have those features yet. I mean, they had the word programs, but the best thing that they actually had was just the spelling. They didn't really have grammar stuff yet.
Yeah.
And going through a 500 word thing or 1,000 word thing and just to try to fix spelling after you've been up for 4 hours smoking weed and drinking in the computer laboratory, you can't do it. It's so hard.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It is. There's like a like a review system that you hit on there, and it goes through all kinds of things from spell check to checking for all that kind of stuff, and that's helpful. And then I usually read one of my last like drafts. I'll read it out loud, and that gives me a whole different perspective.
Oh yeah, that's probably helpful.
Yeah,
I find that most of my mistakes are in missing words, and sometimes the grammars don't pick up a missing word, like of or at and that thing. But the reason why I miss them is because I know I wanted to write that word in there, and it's not on the physical page or on the physical screen, and I'll just remember that I wrote it in, and I'll read past it, And I'll read that passage several, 4, 5, 6 times before I realize, wait a minute, there's, and I don't always catch them. So those are the hard ones. When you miss a letter, it's just it's not enough to flag the grammar or the spelling or the punctuation, marks on those things.
You can also use a like the audio thing where it reads it to you. There's not a lot of inflection, but you can hear like even if you're reading out loud, sometimes we read stuff that we think is there when it's not, particularly if we wrote it, because we're anticipating certain words, so we're not actually reading the words. It's almost like skimming. So if you have this thing read back to you, that's very helpful, because it's not gonna. If there's a missing word, you're not gonna. It's not gonna.
The computer voice will definitely mark it out. That's a good idea. I had not thought of that. That's an awesome idea, actually.
So, Chad, who were some of the authors that influenced you the most growing up into this path of writing?
Well, the authors that I finally started reading in my early 20s was a lot of Poe and Clive Barker's Books of Blood, Stephen King, Dean Koontz, but my writing doesn't really feel like any of those. As far as writing goes, I probably took the most influence from Jack Ketchum and especially Joe Lansdale. I'm not very wordy. My stuff is very lean, and I don't put a lot of filler in it. So it's definitely doesn't really sound like Stephen King. But I'm sure there's some influence in there for sure. I mean, I read a lot of his books, and but probably Jack Ketchum and Joe Lansdale are my. I'm also a Raymond Carver fan.
Who's
David
that?
Joy.
Raymond Carver? Who?
Yeah.
Raymond Carver?
Yeah. And Ron Rash and David Joy. I like a lot of the Southern Gothic gritlit stuff. I'm really attracted to that because of the fact that they write about real life horrors and real life situations rather than supernatural, and I'm more attracted to stuff that could potentially really happen. Not always, but when I'm reading, that's usually my go-to, particularly when I'm writing, with the exception of a couple of books and a large handful of short stories. But yeah.
I saw that Jack Ketchum movie Offspring recently, man. That was crazy. Is the woman based on something from him as well?
Yeah, there's like a trilogy, like Off Season, and then
some crazy shit, man.
I can't remember the other one. And then the woman, there's Off Season, and then what is the other one? Offspring or
there's Offspring. There may be an Off Season, but Offspring
Off Season.
Movie.
Off Season's the first one, but I haven't seen any of the movies.
Yeah, they're a rough watch, but good for one time. I don't know if I'm going to see it anytime soon. I saw that movie, The River's Edge, recently, and it's one of those I've been wanting to see forever about Crispin Glover, and Keanu Reeves and all those kids in that body. Yeah. That was a classic. It took me forever to watch it, though. But definitely, it was disturbing. But it's one of those I had meant to watch, and I finally got around to. I was like, that was really good, but definitely weird with the Dennis Hopper situation.
Yeah, there are some that's one of my all-time favorite movies. If I could choose one movie that that reflected what my writing is kind of like or feels like, it would be River's Edge.
That's cool.
I've been heavily influenced by that movie. I absolutely love it. I was in talks with the publisher to write the novelization of it, but I don't know if they're having a hard time getting the rights or what. I haven't really heard anything back, but I would absolutely love to. That's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, that's really good. It was definitely disturbing on a lot of different levels, but good. Kind of had the Stand By Me vibe, but it was definitely more messed up than Stand By Me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But Dennis Hopper had a blow-up doll girlfriend.
Yeah.
So... But is there any other movies like that that are that powerful? It's on HBO Max, so you might have some fun this weekend, baby. But no, Chad, is there any other movies like that you found that powerful?
Oh, sure. I mean, I'm a huge Evil Dead fan. The Shining is one of my all-time favorites movies. Boogie Nights by P.T. Anderson.
Yeah,
Magnolia by
that's
P.T.
a good
Anderson.
movie.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. Not just horror movies, but just like I like really good indie films. Like River's Edge. Or Super Dark Times, another good one. Um, dark, dark coming of age stuff. A movie called Happiness that I really don't recommend to anybody, but I really loved that movie.
I've
That's a
seen
very hard
it.
watch.
It's kind of like a
What what's that? You were cut out. I don't know if it's just me, but I can't hear you at all now.
We can't hear you, Jeff. Your mic's off or you're frozen up. He's definitely experiencing Mercury retrograde. At least he's lucky. The thing froze his hand in front of us. I get mine freeze up. I don't need to have these weird expressions on my face every time mine freezes up. So I don't know if he told you we had Joe Lansdale on the show a few
Yeah.
weeks ago,
Hmm.
and I mean I'd heard of the guy's name before, but I hadn't realized how wide his influence was. How
Yeah.
many things he's done that I either have heard of or actually were a part of, like the Batman cartoons and stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, he's back.
yeah. I'm having some internet trouble, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It normally is fine, but of course. But yeah, you should see River's Edge, Jay. That's one to see for sure.
I'll write it down and put it in the queue.
I saw a really weird one called Biosphere that runs you through a gamut of awkward emotions.
Is that the
Look
one
it
with
up.
Pauly Shore?
No, it's new.
Oh,
It's
it's
about these
Biodome. Never mind.
Biosphere. Look
Yeah.
it up and see it if you can. But it's one of those where it makes you feel very awkward during it. For I won't give too much away, but
I don't know. There's a lot of weird ones out there, like Apocalypto. I saw that. I have no idea what the plot is because
how
it's all
about the
spoken in Incan. There's that movie Brazil, which I think is all Portuguese, but there is English subtitles. But you asked me, I've only seen it once or twice. I couldn't even tell you what the plot is. I have no clue what happened in either of those two movies. That's how cryptic they are.
Have you guys seen Mad God?
I have.
No.
Yeah.
I've seen it. It's really good. It's
Yeah.
weird. I need to see it. I would watch it again
Very weird.
for sure. And
I've seen The Gods Must Be Crazy and The Gods Must Be Crazy too. Those were kind of strange.
Mad God is by what his name's Phil Tippett, I think. I know he did a lot of Return of the Jedi special effects and stuff, but he did this
Phil Tippett is a
crazy.
mechanical special effects supervisor. Yeah,
He
I'm
did
familiar with
it
his
this
work.
crazy, insane, the craziest, weirdest, darkest thing ever. I need to watch it again. But it was
Yeah,
definitely
he's been working on that movie for 35 years. It finally just came out.
Mhm.
It's on Shudder.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the new Creep shows when they start. I know that took them a while to get them out there, but I like Creep Show, the show. I like those shows, the anthologies like Tales from the Crypt and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Tales from the Dark Side.
Yeah, those were good shows back in the
Those
day.
I miss those. They don't really have them. I mean, they have Black Mirror. I'm trying to watch that. That's like the first episode. I'm like, really? This is what we're gonna be doing, the pig episode. I don't know what else is in store here. But,
Yeah, Black Mirror's good. You got to get past the pig episode.
yeah, that was like I need to take a shower after that. That guy's a good actor though. He's Frankenstein and Penny Dreadful, and that movie Men. That was weird as hell.
Yeah.
I like those kind of movies. Well, I don't know. I mean, I like them, but I don't watch them again. Like Men and Beau is Afraid, where you just don't know what the hell. It's kind of like a David Lynch movie or something. You don't know what the hell is going on at all. You don't know. Like I still don't know what happened in Beau is Afraid. It was definitely weird, but those Ari Aster movies, I always feel sick after those. I don't really watch those twice. One, they're good, but I don't know if I want to. I don't even think I watched Hereditary twice.
I
I liked
recently
it.
I recently watched Midsummer for the second time, and I it was it's a long movie. It's almost 3 hours long, and I liked it, but as I'm sitting there, and the reason why I watched it was because I had you guys probably don't know who Tom Sullivan is. He did all the special effects for Evil Dead One.
Name sounds
Yeah.
familiar.
Oh well,
I've seen
yeah,
it.
he did all the claymation,
Oh,
all the
okay.
makeup, all the props, all that stuff. Well, he lives near me, and he had never seen Midsummer, and so we watched it, and I was a little bored, but I was excited because we were also going to watch Evil Dead Rise, which he hadn't seen either, and so I was excited to hear what he thought of what they'd done with his stuff that he created.
That's pretty cool hanging out with him. That's for sure. That's cool. What do you think of Evil Dead Rise?
He thought it was good.
I thought it was good, but you still
Yeah.
kind of miss that Bruce Campbell face. Somehow you find yourself yearning for it on
Yeah.
some level. But it wasn't bad. I liked it. You know, I'm not trashing it by any means.
Bruce Campbell, that character, uh, I mean, I appreciate the campy side of Evil Dead, but
Yeah.
I fell in love with Evil Dead because it was a terrifying horror movie, and so back when that movie came out, when I saw it, there was no such thing as Evil Dead 2, Ash versus Evil Dead, Army of Darkness, so there was no comedy whatsoever. It was just like this horrifying, really gritty, brutal horror film. And then when part 2 came out, remember me and my dad went and saw it in the movie theater when it first came out, and we walked out so disappointed because it was a comedy, and we had no idea that. So I was I've been happy to see the last couple Evil Dead movies not doing that and get
Well, I
back
think
to the.
sometimes they may not have intended to be comic or comical, but Reanimator, my friend and I, we saw that in the theater, and we just couldn't stop laughing at the
Yeah.
gore and the gory parts. So it was just so damn funny. And I snuck in a 6 pack of beer. My friend snuck in a 2 liter bottle of California wine coolers. And we're drinking that in the theater bar, we're watching this thing and laughing at it. And then, like halfway through the movie, these 2 girls sitting behind us like taps on the shoulder, like, "How can you laugh at this?" And we both said, "Because it's funny.
Yeah,
I mean, the
it's a
joke.
comedy. It's a comedy. Oh,
It's
absolutely.
it's an over the top comedy with some over the top horror and gore
Gore. Yeah.
effects. It's one of the funniest movies I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But it's genred as a horror, not a. They don't say
Yeah.
sci-fi horror. They don't say comedy horror. They just say horror.
Well,
And
the,
it had to be an X rating too. I think to get out
was
it
that
was an
Stuart
NC-17 at one
Gordon?
point.
Yeah,
Was that a
yeah,
Stuart Gordon movie? Yeah.
yeah.
I
It
mean,
was.
the movies he was doing then, they were all like, uh, they were all had that tone, like that kind of. Yeah, there were a lot of gore, but it was also very lighthearted, and there was a lot of comic relief in
Mhm.
it. And I didn't mind that because that's what you got. But imagine, if like Hereditary 2 comes out and it's a comedy, I'm gonna hate it because that's and then it builds, and then all the rest of the Hereditary world is just comedies. That would piss me off too, just like Evil Dead 2 pissed me off. I mean, I can enjoy Evil Dead 2 now, but at the time, or uh, it just because Evil Dead for me was right up there with the original Texas Chainsaw. Um, Now, granted, Chainsaw 2 had some comic relief, um, but that didn't piss me off like Evil Dead 2 did.
It's
Yeah,
hard
if
to
you're expecting
find.
one thing and get something else, I can understand that.
Yeah.
It's hard to find good
Mm,
horror movies lately. I mean, I saw Cobweb. That was actually good, and Barbarian was pretty good. Those are two that I've seen that were decent. The Blackening, I actually enjoyed that. That has really good reviews. That was good. There's some out there. You just gotta dig the new stuff for sure.
Yeah, on the podcast I do on Tuesday nights, we have like a round Robin thing where we talk about each of us talk about the like 2 or 3 movies that we saw throughout the week, and we have like audience participation because we do it live at 8 o'clock, and so we have people in the chat too. But then we also have a main feature that we talk about, and Cobweb was a recent one. I didn't really care for it too much, but Barbarian was another one, and but this year we're having a really tough time finding stuff that we are enjoying, and we've been complaining about that a lot. And there's only been a handful that I was just like, man, this is really good. One of them was a movie called The Passenger. That's on. I think you got to rent it on Prime. That's one of the best movies I've seen all year. I wouldn't call it horror. It's really.
I think I saw it and read about it. It's about a brother and they're on the road or something.
Yeah,
Brothers,
a little bit.
yeah.
Yeah, not brothers, but
it's
yeah.
on my to-do list. Yeah,
Yeah,
I saw it.
that might be the best movie I've seen all year.
Definitely. It's hard to find good stuff. It's out there, but you have to dig. I don't feel excited about anything
Yeah.
that's coming out. Like can't think of anything. I'm excited for Alan Wake 2. I got that recently. That's coming out in October. That's a video game.
On a similar token, there's other movies out there that people wouldn't consider that are horrors, but that actually are. Like what do you guys think about certain things that I consider horror movies? Most people don't. Like Aliens. Those first 2 Alien movies. Those are sci-fi horror movies without question.
Yeah.
One of my favorite horror movies, and it wasn't even actually filmed as a horror movie, is Jaws. It is absolutely 100% a horror movie because the fact that the mechanical shark didn't work for most of the filming, they had to fill in the shark parts with just dark water, so you don't see the killer until the very end. That's like the very formula of almost any type of horror movie you've ever seen. You don't reveal the killer till the end.
Yeah, especially back then.
Even Scooby-Doo. Even Scooby-Doo, they don't reveal the bad guy until the very last second. So there is a specific formula there.
And Jaws. Someone told me if you need the greatest movie ever, Jaws, you can't go wrong with Jaws. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I might dig into it.
Jaws is a pretty good movie.
At some point.
I've got some author friends.
See, the thing about the good thing about the Jaws movie is they improved on the book. In the original book, Peter Benchley wrote the book. The shark just gets stuck in the boat and goes down with the boat and drowns to death. So the movie, they stick a scuba tank in his face, and then Roy Scheider blows his head off with the gun and explodes the tank. I think that's a much better ending for a movie that you've been watching for 2 hours, and all of a sudden, the shark just slowly sinks and dies. No, the explosion was a much better improvement.
I have my buddy Michael Clark, who is an author, bottled this up when he went to, I can't remember where it's at, but he brought me home. He sent me some sand where the chick at the beginning, Chrissy's death. This is the sand from where they filmed that scene.
Awesome.
Cool.
What is that weird mask behind you? It looks like Leatherface, but the lion from Wizard of Oz.
You don't recognize that?
No. I see it, but
really?
No, what is it? Oh, Five Nights at Freddy or something?
No, my gosh, no. This is the Dogman from The Shining.
Oh, okay. Wow.
He's going down on the
Yeah. That's I recognize it now. I actually saw some weird article about all that not too long ago. That was
yeah.
Yeah, I got it now. That's crazy. I didn't know they put out masks of that, but they do everything now, I guess.
Yeah,
for sure.
When I saw that, I had to have it. I absolutely love The Shining, and that's one of the creepiest scenes in the movie because it's so out of context. It just happens for a quick minute, and you're like, "What was that?"
Yeah, it's definitely a classic. I'm really wanting to read Christine. I need to buy it at some point. I've never read Christine. I love the movie, I know Brian Fuller's doing a movie or series or something, Christine. But the John Carpenter movie, I love it. But I've never read the book. I want to read the book. I want to grab it. But Brian Fuller did Hannibal, which was
Yeah.
amazing. But they
Yeah, that was
they
amazing.
that was one of those I was so mad it was like canceled. Like, like I'm still mad about it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. But what's weird, Brian Fuller's doing a Friday the 13th prequel show on Peacock. That should be weird.
Yeah.
But my
I'm looking
problem
forward
with,
to it.
I like what he does, but he seems like he's quit a lot of stuff.
So he's going
that
to show us
worries
how
me.
Jason's mom went nuts.
I know he quit that Interview with the Vampire show or something. And I know he quits a lot of stuff or walks away from it, gets pissed off or something. So hopefully no Friday the 13th troubles. But I'll be surprised if Hannibal ever comes back. That'll be like a miracle.
Yeah, there's been a couple rumors that they were going to do it again. Like right after it got canceled, like, well, someone's going to pick it up. Nobody did.
Yeah, I'll be surprised for sure if it comes up. But are there any other movies you've seen that are good lately that are new? It's really hard to, it's trying to figure out something. Like right now, I can't even think of anything new that's coming out that I even care about.
Yeah, on Tubi, I watch a lot of Tubi movies. And there's two movies on there, if you like found footage, called, well, these are more like kind of like documentary style found footage. Horror in the High Desert, 1 and 2. Have you seen those?
I've heard of them, but I've never seen them.
Yeah, those are great. Very, very well, extremely well acted for the type of film it is. Very impressive. The second one's better than the first one.
Horror in the High Desert. Is that? I know I've heard of those Outwaters one too. It's called Outwaters. I haven't seen it yet either, but I know it's on Screenbox. I'll have to check those out. There's a weird one I've been meaning to watch. It's called Clowns, Geeks, and Aliens or something. It's by Richard Elfman, Danny Elfman's brother, but it looks pretty weird. It's on Tubi, but it's like Clowns, Geeks, and Aliens. It looks kind of crazy. I know the same dude did a movie Dimension Zone or something that looks really weird that's older. Very strange one. You'd be surprised what you can find on archive.org. I found all those Quartermass in the Pit, like seasons of shows, like those old, crazy ones. I don't know if that was Hammer. I don't remember, but Quartermass in the Pit. There's like a movies and old TV shows, but basically the whole thing's about a dude trying to thwart an alien invasion. They're old and weird, very weird, for sure. So, Chad, and if you haven't had any, it's fine, but have you ever had any paranormal experiences? Or what you consider a paranormal experience?
I don't think so. I really wanted to have one when I was a kid, and like badly, but I was also terrified of it. But with all the Amityville horror stuff going on, and then Poltergeist had come out, which a couple years later, and that was really popular, and I just thought, man, how cool would it be to see a ghost? And but I really don't think that I ever have had any, like ghost stuff or anything like that.
Well, things have
Some of the ghost stuff were really scary. I mean, you'll run right out of your skin.
Yeah.
Things have definitely gotten weirder on a UFO level. When every time you walk by the news, which from my mom or whatever, they're talking about UFOs, like on NBC or whatever.
I did see something in the sky once when I was a kid, but I didn't really. I've always remembered it, part of it, but I never really. I remember at the time not thinking it was a huge deal until I started seeing, when I got much, much older, and I started seeing people describe kind of like the same thing, which kind of weirded me out. But because it happened so long ago, I mean, I was maybe 12 or 13, and I just remember seeing like what looked like triangles, like three of them flying together, almost like those what are they called, the jets that fly in like unison and do all the the fancy stuff. The
Thunderbirds or those
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
things.
It was almost like that, but
Honesty.
they were way way high, and they were not shaped like that, but they were flying together like that. I don't know if it was one thing or three things, and I thought that they were white, but because my memory is so far back, I can't exactly remember. But they were triangular, and they were flying in a triangular pattern together, and it was in the daytime, and it was very high in the sky. And I just remember taking note of it, and I think I was with my friend and pointed it out, and we're like, "Oh, that's weird." But then every once in a while I think about it again. But it wasn't until probably within the last 10 years where I started seeing drawings and stuff of that kind of like the thing that I had seen,
Mm-hmm.
where I thought, "Oh, maybe that was something." But other than that, I have no idea.
We had a guy on, Robert Earl White, that in the 90s, a craft just like that blew up in his backyard in New Jersey, and military came out and made his mom promise not to say that it was an exploding UFO, to say it was a helicopter that exploded. They threatened her and said they'd take her son away forever, made her draw aliens, and he's part of those UFO congressional hearing crash retrieval weird whistleblower stuff. But it was a weird show. It's like, this one's going to get me on a watch list. That was a weird one. But things are so crazy on that level with UFO stuff. The main reason we do the show is because I've seen weird UFO stuff since I was younger. I had testicular cancer, and a few years later, my dad died when I was 17, and then a few years later, my dad died 19 or 20, I forget. But I started having a lot of weird crap where I saw beams of light and UFOs with witnesses. But right now, one of the weirdest things that's going on, and I'm not going to get into it too much, but make a note to look up this book on Amazon. It's called UFO of God by Chris Bledsoe, Bledsoe. It's in the Christian section, which is really weird. But it's basically about a guy that was just on Beyond Skinwalker Ranch on the History Channel who could summon UFOs. And standing by his side was Colonel John Alexander, who's retired and CIA analyst. And the show ties into Skinwalker Ranch. But that book, UFO of God, I'm trying to read it. It's crazy. It has all these blurbs from government spooks on it that are in the CIA, like recommending you to read it and stuff. It's like a John Carpenter movie, that book. But basically, all these people underneath it are saying they're having these experiences now. And on the back, Colonel John Alexander says, you read this and you'll be one of them. It's the weirdest shit I've ever seen. If you get a chance to look it up, it's called UFO of God by Chris Bledsoe. But it basically seems like our government is involved with the Skinwalker Ranch phenomenon in the show. They're involved with this dude. They're involved with that book. And it seems like they're trying to get people outside to interact with this phenomenon, which is even more creepy. Like, it's stuff we've gotten into it. I had a remote viewer on, Will Murray, who co-created that Marvel Squirrel Girl, which I've heard of it. I haven't read it, but I'd like to. But he's the remote viewer, and the government, well, I don't know if it was the government, it was more like the Skinwalker Ranch show people had 70 remote viewers do an exercise regarding those ranches. We had him on the last show or so that was pretty nuts.
Yeah,
but
I remember that. Yeah, that was a good show.
But I mean, the last season of Skinwalker Ranch pretty much ended with all these government spooks at a table basically agreeing that there's some kind of alien base or some kind of modern military base under the ranch. But it's definitely a weird rabbit hole to go down if you look up that book. But the pyramid craft have come up many times. I've seen some of them before sitting over some power lines, and a white light came out of one of them. And my friend Greg Gordy was with me. And I asked him about it years later, and he doesn't remember it. And I was like, dude, you were right there. I know we were really fried and on God knows what, but we both saw it. And it's weird how people don't remember it, and then you remember it plain as day. But I have other people that do remember it. So those are good to make you feel not as crazy. But the level with all the UFO stuff has definitely gotten to a horror movie level. Oh, I know a good one I saw a movie on Screenbox, Subject. Have you ever seen that?
No.
It's a found footage movie. It's called Subject, and it's by the guy that did Good Times, that Robert Pattinson movie that was kind of weird. It's on Screenbox, so look
Yeah.
it up. It's really crazy. Like this guy gets kidnapped by government black ops and ends up in an underground like military base, and it gets kind of Lovecraftian, maybe I guess. Weird, but
Hmm.
it's really good. It's just called Subject. But so you didn't like Cobweb? I thought Barbarian and Cobweb would be a good double feature, like Weird Mutant Sisters or whatever
Yeah.
the hell's going on with that.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
What's that trend? That's like feral children that live under your house. Like, but yeah, I mean they're decent watches. I saw them once, but I don't know if I'd watch them again anytime soon. I'm trying to think of what's coming out for Halloween that it's exciting. Is there anything you can think of, Chad, for October?
Uh, yeah, something. I just I can't remember. I know that Talk to Me just came out, available
I saw it.
to rent. A lot of people are talking about that. Something I can't remember. Something's coming around, um, Halloween that's anticipated, and I cannot remember what it is. I was just talking to some friends about it.
Yeah.
Um,
Creep Show is the only thing I can think of that I'm excited about. The series on Shudder.
the fourth movie in the Hell House LLC series is coming
Oh
out.
yeah. I know I've seen some of those. I don't know if I've seen them all.
Oh, John Carpenter has I think it's a mini, like a six-part series or something coming out. I think
Suburban
next month.
Screens. I
Yeah,
saw that trailer. Yeah, I'll check that out for sure. And then that Mike Flanagan one, I want to see that. The Edgar Allan Poe.
yeah, absolutely.
That's a must. I never seen the Bly Manor. Was that any good? Did you see that one? The second one that was after Hill
Um,
House.
yeah, it's probably my. It was good, but it was probably my least favorite of the like mini series that Flanagan has
That's what
done.
I'm afraid of. I just don't know if I can get through it.
Yeah,
I
it was
love
still good.
Midnight Mass. That was good.
Yeah, that's the best one as far as I'm concerned.
That preacher dude, like they should give him like an Emmy or something. Would say, well, of course, but give that dude an award. He did a good job. The preacher. They did a lot of them did.
Yep.
There's one I've been wanting to watch by the guy that did. Yeah, why do I always forget the damn name of that movie? It's called Blood, and it's on Hulu. And I always forget the name of the movie that he did. That let me look it up. Blood movie 2023. District no, not District. I'll find it. It's a horror movie that the guy did before that's really good about a creepy mental asylum and there's ghosts and weird construction workers.
Hmm.
Uh,
Oh, the Session
I
9?
found it. Yeah. That guy, and he did The Machinist. He did a movie on, and I haven't watched it yet. It's on Hulu called Blood, just Blood. It's about a vampire. I
Hmm.
haven't watched it. Brad Anderson.
I like. I really like The Machinist.
Yeah, and this Blood is a 2022 American horror film directed by Brad Anderson and written by Will Honley, Michelle Monaghan, and Michelle Monaghan, was she in Haunting of Hill House? She was in something,
I
I
don't
heard.
know.
But it's by the Session 9 guy, a Vampire Kid movie.
Hmm.
I have to watch it for sure. But let's see. Let me close this stuff out. So, has any other movies come up? What was the one? Oh, the Hell House movies. Not. I've seen some of those. I need to see the. I'm sure there's some I've missed though. The found footage flicks
Yeah.
and trying to think what else is. I know a lot of the streamers are coming out with a lot of movies on for Halloween. Shudder, Screenbox, and
Yeah.
Hulu. Like they've got all these lists. Most of the stuff we've seen before. I'm excited about the Noah Hawley Alien series that's coming out. The guy that did Fargo and Legion on Hulu, he's putting
Oh.
out an Alien TV show.
Oh, okay.
That should be pretty weird.
Is it a fiction story or is it about documentaries?
Uh, no, it's like
It's like the H.R. Geiger
yeah,
alien.
the Sigourney Weaver alien.
Oh,
Hmm.
an Aliens TV show. That'll be cool.
Yeah, he does really good stuff. I mean, he make that Legion show was really good with it's like an X-Men mutant situation with
Yeah, it's Marvel
Aubrey
Universe.
Plaza. I forget the actor. That Legion show was crazy weird. Uh, I still need to watch the Chris Rock Fargo season. I haven't seen that season. I like the other seasons, so I know a new Fargo season's coming out on is it Hulu or whatever. So, what about authors? Who have you been reading lately that's any good with book wise? I'm reading that UFO of God book, and I have that Holly book coming, but the UFO God book, the UFO of God book, kind of creeps me out, so it's taken me a while to read it.
I'm C.S. Humble. He's fairly newish, but fantastic author. He wrote a series of horror westerns, and I'm reading the first one right now, and it's
Oh well, I
very
like that.
impressive. Very impressive. Reading Joe Lansdale's The
Is it
Thicket.
Weird West? Is it Weird West?
Yeah, I think it's
Okay.
called Massacre at Yellow
Massacre
Hill.
at Yellow Hill.
Yeah.
Yep, there it is.
Um, yeah, a great writer. And then The Thicket by Joe Lansdale, because that is being turned into a movie starring Peter Dinklage and Juliette Lewis, as well as James Hetfield from Metallica.
Wow.
And so I
Nice.
want to, yeah, I want to get that read. That's one of the Lansdale books I've never read, so I want to get that read before I saw the movie. Um, a handful of other books that I'm reading right now too. That just some of them are for merely for like research, because I plan to write a completely different genre than what I normally do under like a pen name. So I'm writing some books that I wouldn't normally, or reading some books I wouldn't normally bother with. Um, and yeah, I bought a whole bunch of books lately that I need to get to, but
I was a feeling. I'm saving these C.S. Humble books. Those are pretty weird and interesting.
yeah, the first one, the one that I'm reading, it's pretty great.
Do you always have a Weird West fetish, or is this just like a one-time thing?
Nah, not at all. No, no. I got to know the author a little bit, and he sent it to me. Asked for a blurb, um, which I only give if I really like something, and very happily gave him a blurb because it's a great book. But no, I don't. Westerns is not something I seek out. It just so happens that I wrote one, and I'm also reading one right now. So
I'm gonna
You
have
got
to
to
buy
check out the
those.
competition, you know.
These books have really good reviews. I'll have to pick them up one year. I'll get him on the show and say, "Hey, that's how I work. That's how I
uh,
gripped it, baby."
I'm sure he'd be up
But
for it.
and if you go to deadskypublishing.com, just some of the splatter western books that are coming out. I'll just read the titles for a few souls more. There's Chad's book, How the Skin Sheds. Cruel Angels Past Sundown. That's another title. Just reading you some of the titles. Hot Iron and Cold Blood. That's like an anthology. They got a whole. They're conquering the Weird West genre over here. It's kind of hard to find. It's not the easiest, is it? I mean, it's not. It's definitely not everywhere. But it's gotten more popular lately
Yeah,
in a lot of ways.
yeah. I think Death's Head Press, which is essentially the same thing as Dead Sky Publishing, is responsible for kind of like this resurgence in Western horror and making it kind of a bigger than it ever really has been before. I think
Definitely.
I think my splatter western is like the 15th uh, splatter western that they've published in the last 3 or 4 years.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
And what was the one that I just Christopher. Always have trouble with last names, of course. But Ballad of the Weird Vixens and all that. I picked those up. Trying to bring it out on Google. Oh, Ballad of the Weird Vixens, Christopher Triana. He's got two that
Okay.
It was weird because at first they weren't available, and then I got them off his site. But I guess they finally hooked it up and they became available on Amazon. Uh, are you going to do any more Spider Westerns, or is that it for you?
I did pitch a sequel to How the Skin Sheds to Dead Sky, and I started writing it. Uh, but at this point, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to finish it and give it to them or what. I really don't know yet.
That's a book that I saw on Facebook before, Skullface Boy. That looks pretty interesting. I'm just looking through some of your books. I just read that Stephen Graham Jones, The Only Good Indians. That was really good.
Yeah.
Uh, but Skullface Boy and Wallflower. You go to Chad, lutzke.com, and check out all of Chad's books. And let's see, Death's Head Press, and that's Dead Sky Publishing. Uh, they're doing Weird West, and there's all kinds of different books there. And you can join their mailing list. But that's deadskypublishing.com. Chad, I'm going to go ahead and close out. I appreciate it so much you coming on the show. It's been a great time.
Yeah. I
And I've
appreciate you having
enjoyed
me.
it. And keep us in the loop. Keep us in the loop for future projects. And I'm going to check out those Weird West, the ones from the publisher, of course, but the ones you mentioned, those look very interesting. I saved those as well, but I'm going to check those out. I wrote down a bunch of stuff that you recommended and saved
Great.
pictures of my desktop. But I appreciate it so much, Chad. Thanks so much for coming
Thank
on the
you.
show.
All right,
Have a
guys.
Yeah,
good
thanks, Chad.
weekend.
Yeah, you too.
All right, everybody. You're listening to United Public Radio 107 FM New Orleans. And thanks, everybody, for listening. We don't got too much longer. Are you doing a show after this one, Jay?
Yeah, probably. If Joe's doing one, I'm getting on it. Yeah.
And oh, I know what I wanted to ask you. You're off. Are you? Your next shows are October. Wait, next week's Wham. Hopefully, she's gonna be there if she's better. Uh, she should be, but you never know. I hope she's not feeling well, so hopefully she gets to feeling
Yeah.
better. And then I got you for the 6th, the 13th, and the 20th. And when you're going to be going back to work when?
Probably sometime after the 18th. I got to get an MRI on my foot, find out what's going on with the heel, see if there's a break in there or what. And then, depending on what we find out, I'm either going to be staying in this cast a little longer than PT. So I don't know. I could be out of work past the 18th. I don't know yet.
Well, you'll be there for the 6th and 13th, probably, right?
Yeah, I'll be off for those. Yeah.
And that's Fred.
Huh?
That's Fred Anderson, the guy from Sweden, Northern Lights.
Okay.
I'll have to send you his book. I have it somewhere. Oh no! Let me find it. It's from Shannon LeGros. Let's see. I'll send it to you. I'm trying to find it right now. What happened to your leg again?
Stress fracture in my heel. And I couldn't figure out where it happened from. Then my girlfriend reminded me I slipped down the stairs a couple times, so maybe I came down the stairs a little too hard on it and caused a stress fracture. So that's what I'm thinking. That's how we're treating it right now. That it's a broken foot.
What? Oh wait, hold on. Is your email still that USS Lexington one?
No. That's been old. I'll send it
Spell
to you.
some of it. Just spell some of it. At first, it'll pop up on my thing, probably.
J period V period.
There it is. J period V period.
Yep.
Thundercats.
Yep.
I'm sending you those books. That
Okay.
Northern Lights book to your email. There's some other books there too. Those guests ain't coming on,
Okay.
uh, but that's actually three pretty good books.
All right.
Shannon LeGros was in Dogman Triangle documentary that's on Tubi. That's actually pretty good. But I don't know, man. I just feel tired. It's like no matter what I do, I feel tired. It's like we're being
Yeah,
drained.
I'm tired too because I'm just having weird sleep skills since I've been off work the last several days. So
I
staying up
feel,
late, sleeping early.
I feel exhausted.
You got to get out and get some of that sun on you. That'll help you wake up.
Yuck. I went out there earlier. I go out there sometimes before the show and bask in the light of the sun. Let the light fill me. The light of the gods.
You need your vitamin D.
But things have just been crazy. Like we had some dogs that were in the freezer dead here that because they passed that Christina was supposed to have them turn to ashes. The freezer died, so the people who came and got the dogs, it's like Night of the Living Dead for a minute there.
Yeah.
A freezer died. It's just a complete nightmare. And I swear I've had two goodie powders, coffee, tea, and I still feel tired. It's like something's draining us.
Yeah. Energy leeches in the atmosphere.
It's Chinese satellites.
Yeah, that could be it.
I think it is. It's supposed to be a good alien, a UFO show, a movie. No One Will Save You on Hulu. It's by the guy that did. Why do I always forget? No One Will Save You. Oh, Loving Monsters and Spontaneous. Caitlin Dever.
Oh, I like her.
She's in it, and it's like a horror movie, but I'm going to watch it at some point. Man, I don't know what it is. Does anybody else out there feel dead to the
Drained of
world,
energy.
drained? I think there's parasitic entities eating us.
Yeah, I feel that.
And what's up? Jay's going to tell a story.
Well, all right. I'll tell you something cool today. We went out. I was hoping to get some models to start building because I'm off of work. I got to find. I mean, I've got a bunch of models here I can do, but I don't know if you can see behind me. Over there are one 350th Enterprises. I want to put them together, put lights on them. And I went to the hobby shop to buy, a smaller version of the Enterprise just to get my skills back. And they didn't have any at the store. They had all kinds of Star Wars things, World War II things, cars, trucks. Not a single Star Wars model that I could put together, get my skills back together. So, kind of a failed, successful visit to the Hobby Lobby today.
Hobby Lobby, what were you doing there?
I was going to get a small scale USS Enterprise to put together, so I could get practiced on doing the big one. The big one's going to be like 3 feet long, but I couldn't find one. They didn't have any in the store. Amazon's got them all over the place, but they didn't have them physically in the store today. So I guess I'll have to buy them off of Amazon.
Is it something new that's come out?
No, they're reprints of the older models. But Polar Lights a few years ago got the rights for Star Trek, and they started making these 1/350 scale models. And basically, what it is like the original series model is 11 feet long, and the model that they build is almost little under 3 feet long. The Enterprise model from the movies was a 14-foot long model, and the one that they build in the kit is just over 36 inches. I think it's 37 inches or 37 and a half inches. But basically, you're building a yardstick USS Enterprise. They're huge. I mean, the saucer section is like this big around or bigger. And this is one of my lights.
What is it?
It's the Enterprise. I'll get the box. I'll see if I can show you the box. Otherwise, I don't step on my glasses.
Lord.
It's a fairly big box. I mean, it'll fill up the whole screen, but
Wow,
that's the model that I want to build. And there's light kits you can put in it that makes the rotor spin. And
that's just the box. It's in it. There's the
Yeah.
model. Where's the model? The model's in it.
The model's in it, yeah. I mean, it's absolutely enormous. I'll see if I can get the saucer section out.
That is pretty huge. Very huge. Very huge.
Oh, it's enormous. There's the saucer section. You know, like the top
Wow.
part of it. It's as big
You
around
have
as
to-
a basketball.
Do you have to paint it?
Oh yeah, it's not molded in color at all. So yeah, it's going to be a huge project. Probably take me several months to put it together. But I'm excited to do it. I haven't built one in a long, long time. So
Is there a lot in the series or whatever?
they've got the Enterprise from the movies. They've got Chancellor Gorkon's battle cruiser from the movies. They got the Grissom. Most of the movie models are out, like 4 or 5 of them, but that's about it. They haven't really been doing a lot lately, but we'll see if they produce some more new cool ones. Would it be nice if they would do a 1/350th scale Enterprise and then a scale shuttlecraft to go with it, so you can see the scale of the two ships. That would be cool.
That is pretty neat. They have villain ships, you said?
Yeah, they got Chancellor Gorkon's Katinga class battle cruiser. It's the 1/350th, and there's a light kit for that. And it's an expensive model. It's like $150, but I put it in my Amazon cart just in case I get some money for it.
How much is it?
It's like $150. These Enterprise models were like $199. They were not cheap.
What was the one you were looking for at the model store?
Just a regular small scale, like 1/650th Enterprise. You know, a 12-inch model.
Trying to figure out. Let's see. Oh, the site is under construction from the free website, guys. You can check it out. It's got a lot more to be done to it. It's not done. There's a lot more to do to it. Check it out. Look at it.
The new Church of Mabus site, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, churchofmabusradio.com. It's going to look messy, but you'll see you'll see what's going on. Can you see it
My
yet?
browser is acting up funny again.
Your computer's always giving you crap, ain't it?
Yeah, I need to get a new one. This thing's so old.
What kind of service do you have?
I have Xfinity for my internet, but the computer's a Lenovo laptop. I probably got it 2001, 2002, something like that.
What? That's what service do you have? You have Usenet.
Xfinity.
Okay, that's regular internet, right? I mean, that's cable broadband, right?
Yeah, it's cable. It's cable internet comes into the house through a coaxial cable, then it comes out of the router wirelessly to the devices.
We have Spectrum. Could be better, could be worse. Uh, the internet is crazy. It seems like they're going up on price on everything lately.
Oh yeah, everything is expensive as hell anymore.
Even food, like food, streaming
Food's getting
service,
really ridiculous.
even where I work, like where I'm employed, they're acting weird. You do business with places, they're acting weird. It's like everything just seems crazy. People are losing their damn minds. A horror movie. We had some crazy guy that came here to work on the RV that got psycho and ripped us off and stole
Wow.
$450 and
Oh, that's nice.
said he was going to drop the thing off, never dropped it off, disputed it with the credit card, and they didn't give it to us for some reason, so we lost it. And it was someone
Damn.
that was so crazy, you don't want to upset this person because they seem like they could murder you. So I left him some reviews under a VPN, so I'll keep doing that for the rest of his life from every state. So we'll see. It'll cost it $450. I hope it was worth
Yeah,
it.
and yeah.
For real. I'll do it. I've already started doing it. I don't. He deserves it. I actually found other people that he did it to, families, like, and called them on the phone and heard the
Wow.
story from witnesses that he does this. And he runs a mobile RV repair place, J&J Mobile RV Repair. Don't ever use it. It's the craziest thing. It's like one of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre people coming in house. Uh, and you're lucky you survive it. But
So
definitely
yeah,
crazy.
I'm looking at the website. There's a bunch. It's not all the way together yet, huh?
Oh no, there's a lot more. It's
It's
not.
all in
It's
like
yeah. He says that's dummy text. He says there's a
yeah, it's not in
lot
English.
more. This is a place that I won a contest for this site, and they're doing it all. And he says it's going to be more days, and they'll fix it all. But that's just them putting it on Word. Like it's more complicated than I could ever imagine. Like it really is complicated crap that I don't know anything about, and it's more complicated than probably any of us know. All this website crap they have to do to get a website up.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't understand it
But
anymore. It's just too
but
complicated
he
nowadays.
it's crazy. Like it's so much that it's basically what all I had to do is get Bluehost and and also something called Divi, which was for themes and stuff.
Yeah. EV Nation. That's what it says on here.
And I just know it's not done. He has a lot more to do. He said,
Yeah.
I even asked him about the language. He said, that'll change. That's just dummy text. He said, they call it dummy text. They'll be fixing all that.
Yeah. It looks like Latin or something.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Oh, cool. Once it gets going, it'll look pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. So what's up? You're on vacation?
You're gonna have our bio pages back up there. I see. Huh?
You're on vacation?
Vacation? No, I'm on short term disability from
Oh,
Lowe's.
yeah, yeah. crazy.
So yeah, it's kind of nuts, but I've been walking on this broken foot 5 or 6 weeks, so hopefully now I get some relief off of it, and then we get it healed, no pun intended, and then I can start walking again. But I'm going to have probably a couple weeks worth of PT before all that gets done.
God. What happened? You injured it at work, right?
No, I think I did it here at the house, slipping down the stairs. I fell down the stairs like twice on my right foot, like just slid down like half the staircase, and using my foot to brace me. That's probably where it happened, but it didn't hurt at the time that either staircase fall happened. So whatever happened, it was subtle, and then all of a sudden I had these other health issues, and then bam, this thing showed up after my kidney stone. So that was a lot of fun. It's like, rolling out of the frying pan into the fire, then back into the pan, then out of the other side to the other side of the fire. It was not a good last 5 weeks or 5 months.
It's been crazy, man. I swear, if it ain't the end of the world, it's missing an opportunity, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, the universe could have taken me out somewhere between now and the last 5 months. I had diverticulitis. My side was all bloated out, like I looked like Dali had taken a picture of the Michelin Man and painted it himself, all warped out looking. Then I had kidney stone. Then I had this thing with the foot. It's just one after the other.
That's crazy. And you're having to do physical therapy for it?
I was going to physical therapy because we started with the assumption that whatever was wrong with my foot was muscular, not skeletal. So we thought it was probably plantar fasciitis. It wasn't. They gave me the cortisone shot for it. Didn't help. Pain got worse, and the doctor was so booked up I couldn't go see them. I had to go to the ER one day after work because it hurt so bad to get some pain meds. And then I called the next day. It was a Friday, so I had to call the next Monday or Tuesday. Actually, I had to call Tuesday because Monday was a holiday, so they weren't open. And asked for an emergency appointment. They didn't have anything, so I had to walk on this thing for the last 4.5, 5 weeks, and then saw the doctor, and she took me off work and off my feet. So here I be.
Crazy.
Yeah, like I said, it's been a rough 5 months. So all this started back in May.
That's definitely crazy. Did you ever talk to Joe? Are y'all doing a show?
Yeah, he's probably going to be getting on pretty soon, if he's not in now. I don't know if he's got guests tonight or not, but I should be hearing something from him in the next 15 minutes.
Man, I don't know. Oh. Stress. Oh, God. But it usually does a show, but I have no idea. We got about 8 minutes left. I said he usually does a show, but I haven't seen him in a long time, so I don't know. Hell if I know.
Yeah, he missed one week's worth of shows because someone was doing construction in his area, and they cut the hard lines to his Wi-Fi connection. So he was off for about a week.
What happened? Someone cut the line?
Someone was, yeah. I don't know if his neighbor was doing it or his neighbor was having work done, and some guys came out with like a backhoe or something. And they dug up the ground and they hit the cable transmission lines that bring Wi-Fi cable through coax and fiber optics, and just so it took them a week to get it fixed.
I had someone destroyed the cable here to get it to, I guess, to sell it or something. At one point, something like that, to vandalized it and took it, and I don't know, vandalized it on purpose.
That's just no fun, because they're
some of that lot of hillbilly stuff. We're gonna vandalize the internets. That was a while back. It's been pretty good lately. Uh, you've been watching that Ahsoka show?
I'm not up to date, but yeah, I watched like the first three. I think there's what 5 now that are out. It's pretty good. I like it.
It's creepy because that dude's dead. Ray Winstone. Do you know he died?
No, I didn't know that.
You know the dark Jedi dude that's quit the Jedi, the bearded guy, the gray beard?
No, wow, I didn't know he died.
He's dead. I don't even know how they're doing it. Like, I guess he's in the next season.
Well, they probably filmed all that stuff last year, or sometime before he died.
But he died. It's sad watching him, not knowing when you see someone that's died like that. And they're doing a show and he's all happy about it and everything. And in the future, he's dead and didn't even know it.
Yeah.
Really depressing.
Well, yeah,
not,
it is. Especially, they did something. There was something similar happened with the Black Panther character. The actor died of testicular cancer, and
yeah,
I think that's what it killed him.
I think it was
But then they're
prostate.
not going to redo it. Yeah, I mean, I kind of understand, but I don't. They didn't want to disrespect him by putting a new character, a new actor in there. But there's another actor that kind of would have fit the part, and most people would have noticed the transition. They could have kept the character going and make their 3 movies with the Black Panther, but I don't think that's going to happen. It's going to be whole new different stories coming out. Well, Wakanda Forever came out was pretty good, but it just didn't have the same flavor without
I didn't
Chadwick
see
Boseman
it.
in it.
I didn't see it.
It was okay.
The first one was good, but I didn't see the second one. How did they do that anyway?
Yeah, if you got Disney Plus, you can watch it.
I said, how did they do it anyway with him dead? I mean, how did they explain that?
They move on with the sister and the tall bald girl that's like the head chief of security, and like his girlfriend that was like the spy. They're all in it. It's just, and like I said, it was pretty good, but it just they didn't have the same kind of stunts because it just wasn't. It wasn't a Black Panther movie. It was just about the country Wakanda.
Marvel's getting kind of crappy. It seems like it was good. They're doing this cheap stuff. Like that Daredevil show was really good, but they're bringing it back but calling it something else so they don't have to pay the writers. Like they're just trash. That's why all these people are striking.
Wow.
They treat writers like crap. That's why they're going to not have any shows. If you would think they would try to work something out. They really seem like they're being really greedy. I saw somebody wrote an episode. Someone wrote an episode of like She-Hulk, and it was like $50 or something, like crazy weird stories like that. It's Disney. You got the money. You can do something.
They do have some money to throw around, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, the reason these writers are all going crazy is because they're treating them like crap. They're not wanting to pay them.
Yeah, and you look at it like this. Disney had enough money to give George Lucas $11 billion for the whole schmear of LucasArts stuff. Everything that he's ever done, they paid for with $11 billion. You could certainly, throw some of that billions of dollars at some of your writers and have them write better stuff, and maybe not rehashing old and overworked plots. I mean, there are so many bad movies out there that are like exact clones of blockbuster movies of the same genre. There's Transformers movies out there that look just like the Transformers movies, but they suck. There's superhero movies that are out there. There's a Thor movie out there that came out right before the second Thor movie. It's schlock. I don't know, why are they producing this stuff that's just horrible, horrible stuff?
Well, let me tell you, there's 2 shows that I recommend to people, and it's from the American Indians, the natives. The first one's Reservation Dogs. It's on Hulu. It's like 30 minutes a piece. There's Bigfoot in it, cryptids, deer lady. It's got that Takahiti Wakahiti dude that did What We Do in the Shadows. That show's actually really funny too. And there's a movie. He did Thor: Love and Thunder. I didn't think it was terrible, but he makes some good stuff. Reservation Dogs is on Hulu, and it's a comedy. It has lots of native actors in it that have been around. Wes Studi, a lot of guys that have been around forever. Uh, Another show that's based on Tony Hillerman novels and Robert Redford and George Martin are involved. The guy that wrote Game of Thrones books, Dark Winds, and it's got the native guy that's, funnily enough, on Reservation Dogs he's a cop, on Dark Winds he's a cop, and on Longmire he's a cop. But
so not stereocast at all.
but what's so weird is he does a good job. Every each character is different, not the same, and you know that, like how each character has a different personality. But Reservation Dogs is a comedy, so Dark Winds is based on those detective novels by Tony Hillerman. But those shows, good to see the native folk representing, and make sure you check out Dead Sky Publishing. And that's Dead Sky Publishing, deadskypublishing.com. Check out Chad Lutzke site, Chad LUTZKE.com. And before I close out, just real quick, I made the October schedule as if it was the last year on Earth, the last freak show on Earth, or if I croak. October 6th, Fred Anderson, you'll be here. That's Northern Lights, Swedish UFO encounters. Mark Dizwizak, man, I mess up names. Edgar Allan Poe, Mysteries of His Death. You'll be there for that. I think I got a PDF for that. I need to find it. Send you that. October 20th, Stephen Flowers, Gothic Meditations at Midnight. On October 27th, Michael Aliosa, darkinkbooks.com. He put out a Kane Hodder autobiography or biography. The guy that played Friday the 13th, he wrote it. And on the back of it, Kane Hodder strangling them. They also put out a Gunnar Hansen Leatherface biography about the guy that played Leatherface. So that's our Halloween lineup. Everybody have a good weekend. You're listening to United Public Radio, 107.7 FM New Orleans. I'm tired and drained. Keep us in your prayers. Keep out for churchofmabusradio.com. This is the Chinese second sun that they build. That's what's draining us. I have to go. I have to get my superpowers and go destroy it. It's going to be a while. Everybody have a good weekend. Good night, everybody. Take care. Thanks, Jay.
You're welcome.